Yo, what's good? It's your boy Derek Branch here, SportsView360.com, covering the Memphis Tigers. And today I just want to talk about the possibility of the Memphis Tigers football team being a contender for a college football playoff spot this upcoming season. As many of you already know, the stipulations with the college football playoffs is that now that the format is 12 teams, the group of five schools are allowed one slot in the playoffs. However, it must be that the rules are that you must win your conference, but not you must not only win your conference, but you must be the highest ranked group of five conference champion out of all the other group of five conference champions that's that you're competing with that have won conference championships. Now, last year it was Boise State that represented the group of five in the college football playoffs. They went undefeated and they got a first round bye, played against Penn State. It was a competitive game for the most part, but they eventually lost to Penn State. It was at one point last year, it was looking like Memphis was going to be that team that was going to represent the group of five in the CFP until they beat Florida State, which was the big game to get out of the way. But the following week, they had a huge letdown against Navy. And then it really spiraled out of control when they lost to UTSA. Now, this season, a lot of people, they're not really, the attention's not really on Memphis in regards to that matter, in regards to that aspect of the CFP. It's more about winning the AAC this season. Now, I'm not saying that's not that's also a huge goal that they must reach because since Ryan Silver has been the head coach, Memphis has not won a conference championship nor been in a conference championship game. They have not been in one since 2019, which was the year that they won the conference championship and they played in the Cotton Bowl. And at that time, it was the New Year's Six. Now I don't know if that's still. I don't know if that still is a. I don't think that's still a factor now. It's CFP. The only way you can get to those type of ball games is by qualifying for the CFP. It's no longer the New Year's Six that we known when it was the four teams. You know, but this upcoming season, Memphis. A lot of people expect Memphis to be a contender in the AAC this season. And if you look at their schedule, despite losing a lot of players from last season, losing Kobe Drake, Rock Taylor, Demir Blackman, Seth Hennigan, offensive linemen, some impact players on defense. They're still good for. It's still they still have a chance of being a really good football team. If you look at the schedule, once you get past Arkansas, regardless if it's a win or a loss, the Tigers have a chance to win at least five straight games leading up to the matchup with South Florida, who I think is going to be the first key test on the schedule for the in regards to AAC competition. You rattle off, five straight wins going to that matchup. I think you're in good shape, and if you beat South Florida, you got I think another win against Rice. That's six straight, you know. But I think for the Tigers to even have an opportunity to be in that conversation, yeah, they gotta have to beat Arkansas. They gotta have to beat Arkansas because just because of who it is, SEC program, powerful school, but you got to beat them, and then you have to take care of business in your conference, because the minute you slip up in the group of five, unlike the power four leagues, your chances of qualifying for a CFP berth is pretty much slim to none. 'Cause that's what happened with Memphis last season. Because I always felt as though once they lost that game to Navy, kind of felt as though the chances were slim. Because Boise State, a lot of these programs in the group of five, Memphis included, they have easy schedules compared to the Power Four. But even though the schedules are easy, the margin for error for them is slim when it comes to qualifying for a playoff berth. Now, even if they don't get, you know, to that point to where they're a playoff team, they still have a lot to play for. And winning the AAC is huge. Because that's what a lot of critics in the city have criticized Ryan Silverfield for. And that's not winning the games, not winning those big games, and not winning those games that will put this program in AAC championship competition. Because last year they had that chance, when they played against UTSA, and that same day Navy had lost. You know, so that's just the way it is. And now when you look at programs, well, a lot of these bigger sites like ESPN, On Three, when they look at teams that they believe could get to the CFP from the group of five, a lot of them are focusing on Boise State. A lot of people believe that Boise State's gonna got enough personnel, enough firepower to get back into the college football playoffs. You know, and that's what they got from On Three. Got Boise State. You look at ESPN's top 32 teams that can make the playoffs. They have from the group of five. They got, I believe, they have Navy as one of those teams, and they got Tulane. Tulane has been like the national media's eye candy since they won the Cotton Bowl against USC. People have been big on Tulane ever since, you know, to get into the CFP. You know what I'm saying? And they believe Navy and Tulane could get to the CFP this season. And I know a lot of people feel as though Tulane could win the AAC this season. They like their favorites, especially after getting that quarterback out of the transfer portal who played at BYU. But um, I feel as though Navy has just better shot than Tulane to get into the CFP. But they have Tulane as one of those teams from the group of five, and they have Boise State that could get in. They believe they could get into the playoffs. But I think UNLV is a team that Memphis is gonna have to worry about if the possibility of going to the playoffs is out there. They're gonna have to worry about those type of programs. UNLV, they got an easy schedule. Boise State, you know, so the margin for error is slim. They're gonna have to beat Arkansas and take care of the business in their conference, especially towards the end of the season, because if you look at the schedule, you got South Florida. You close out the season with South Florida, Tulane, and Navy. Those three programs. Now, the good thing about this is that all those games are at home. Like we have a huge test against East Carolina that might trip you up. But other than that, these games are at home. They're at home. Tulane is at home. Navy is at home. South Florida game is at home. So even with a retool roster with a bunch of brand new faces at quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, offensive line, people have respect for Memphis. And I still believe it's a chance to get to the playoffs. There's a path for Memphis to get to the CFP. It just is. Schedule. I think the schedule is very favorable once the after the conclusion of the Arkansas game, the following weeks, because Florida teams like Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, they bring in new head coaches. Rice as well, first year head coaches, and I just don't think those teams are going to be up to speed by the time this by the in the first year. In that first year with a new head coach, I just don't. So yes, I think there is a path for Memphis to get there, but it all depends on how well this team gels together. This is not a team that is comprised of a bunch of freshmen or things like that, a bunch of young talent. It's veteran talent, but it just is about coming together, coming together in sync. But we'll see how that'll play out. A couple weeks from now, Tigers open up against Chattanooga at home at the Liberty Bowl, then go on the road to Georgia State, then play Troy, a rematch from last season, and then the big one against Arkansas, so at home. So we'll see how it all play out. That's all I have for y'all for right now. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.